a variety of reasons, and I think you have done outstanding work in this area. So this is really good for both ways, you know, not only from geology side, but also from remote sensing side. So
yes,
that's really, yeah, this is something really extremely good. So, Parsarthi, everything is fine. All
2 minutes and then start.
Yeah, no, we will start at. There is some few minutes still there.
Yeah, exactly.
Start exactly at 7, so that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right.
Jayavalan sir,
namaskar.
Namaskar.
Some people join at the last moment, you know.
Yeah. That Mike, you are available in next week also in Bangalore?
15th of
No,
April.
no, next week. Next week you are available?
Next week, yes. Next week, 2 days I'm not there, 28th, 29th. 30, 31st I'm there.
Okay, then, I want to have another trust board meeting for future activities.
Yeah.
I'll send a request tomorrow.
Yeah. 31st, the meeting, there could be problem because 31st, I have already 2 meetings.
30th, any day convenient to you, or even first also. There is no...
let us do on first, because 30th also there is a board meeting, 31st also. So let us do it on first.
Okay. People should not say anything about April 1st, you know, that's what I'm worried.
No, that let them say. That's why we should worry. We should never worry about what people say, you know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We should do what is required to be done, you know. Yeah.
Hello. Good evening. Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Krishnanunni's sister.
Yeah, very nice that you could join. Last time also you could join, and so it's really good.
Thank you.
So we start now, Parshat?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So good evening to everybody. I welcome you all, and especially Dr. Saibal Ghosh for agreeing to deliver a lecture, 4th Krishnanunni Memorial Lecture through, of course, online. And the landslides have become a major issue after what happened in Himalaya. But even otherwise, you know, there are more people who die through landslide than cyclone or earthquake. But each landslide is a smaller. I mean, it's not affect large area, and because of that, we don't get, you know, it doesn't come into a news. But if you put the entire year's total people died or affected by landslide, is much larger than the other hazards like earthquake or cyclone, which we, you know, worry too much, that is landslide. So I must thank Parsarthi, actually, who suggested this topic, and also the speaker, Dr. Saibal Ghosh, who is acknowledged expert in the landslides. And I'm very happy that he could agree, and I welcome him. And I'm very happy to introduce him to the very august audience. Dr. Saibal Ghosh did his master's in science and master's in technology in applied geology from Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur. And he did his PhD from the on landslide hazard and risk modeling from the ITC, now University of Twente, the Netherlands. And last almost 30 years, he has been working with several geotechnical and especially landslide investigations in the Himalayas and of course in Northeast as a consulting engineering geologist and landslide expert. He is the person who pioneered the nationwide National Landslide Susceptibility Mapping Program in 2014. And it's a very huge project, more than 100 geoscientists worked. He coordinated this great effort. And I think the knowledge which we have is because of this national effort. He has published many articles on the national, international peer-reviewed journals. Also, he reviews many articles. He was the secretary of Indian Society of Engineering Geology, and which is the major international association of engineering geology and the environment. Also convener of science program subcommittee of 36th International Geological Congress, which we had last 2 days, some small function on this. And currently is a very important position on the Deputy Director General of Geology, as well as the Regional Mission Head of Fundamental and Multidisciplinary Geoscientist of Eastern Regional Headquarters. So he is, we are very fortunate to have him. And with this few remarks, floor is yours, Dr. Saibal. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. It's a great pleasure, not only pleasure. I am emotionally touched because with Krishnanunni Saab, he was my first boss. He was my first DDG when I joined the service in Northeastern region. And that time I have seen a person who is to be followed as not only as a boss, but as a visionary and as a exemplary leader. Because I personally want to share one incident with you all that I faced in Northeastern region and how he dealt that incident. That shows his capacity and that shows his statesmanship. I was posted as a resident geologist in a project in Arunachal Pradesh for long. So in that project, it's a very big project. That project, a big GSI team was working, 2-3 geologists, 2-3 surveyors. And we had some unfortunate incident in the project and we were physically assaulted there. All people, myself, then another geologist, then driver, all those things. So we had to literally flee from the project because of that reason. And that time there was no telephone, nothing was there. So we came to Assam and then we could telephone our boss, Krishnanunni Saab. Then he told that whatever things have happened, I am with you all. You please safely come down to Shillong and then we will talk. When we came to Shillong, a normal reaction of all people that why we have not reported this incident to police. Then he told that I have full faith on my officers. So why they have not done it, that I will listen from them. So actually, there were 2-3 surveyors there with their families. So that was a very sensitive place. If we would have informed the police, we have not informed the police, then also a lot of incident happened. Then he, after listening all those things from his chamber, he just took his telephone and connected to the Chief Secretary of Arunachal Pradesh. And he straightway told to him that I am withdrawing my team forthwith from the state of Arunachal Pradesh from this project. I haven't talked with my DG, I haven't talked with my secretary, but sir, if you cannot provide the safety and security of my officers and staff, then GSI cannot work there. And GSI was not working in that project for nearly 8 or 9 months. And that I have seen him that how he can take the steps and the decisions so boldly and immediately. So after that, I have seen him as a DGGSI in Calcutta also. So there are many stories about him, and really I feel honored and proud that today I got the opportunity to speak before you. Many of you actually our revered seniors from whom we have learned a lot of things. And whatever we are today, that is because of you. You have taught us something in our lifetime in these organizations, these great organizations. So without wasting any time, let me go to my lecture. Let me share it. First, my PPT. Is it visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. I have actually compiled all these slides in such a manner so that you can stop me at any point of time if you like. I just wanted to give you tell you a story only, nothing more than that. But the story, since it's a little bit longer because I had to cover a little bit wider range of topics. So if you feel little bit bored at a point of time, you ask questions, you can stop me. In my lecture, I have structured it into these major topics. First, I will discuss about the landslide scenario of the global, and then I will slowly come to our country and the subcontinent. Then I will discuss about what are the prevalent hazards and risks are there as far as landslides are concerned. Then definitely the studies, and also very important is what data are available. That means studies should not be just form as a report or something, how it can be, because this is a subject which is affecting people. So we have to pass on our scientific studies to all the people, all the stakeholders. So I will show you some of the work GSI and other organizations, how they are disseminating the data and what are the data available. Then I will touch upon the current practices. What are the advancements we have made in this subject? And obviously, it's a scientific subject, so there will be some gaps in knowledge. That's why we are always working in the direction to minimize those gaps, and how these gaps are very, very important to further our programs for our scientific studies. And last, I will say a few words about the conclusions and way forward. Now let us go to the landslide scenario. Now here I just wanted to tell you that there are many agencies who are showing the landslide scenarios. So you will find some discrepancy amongst the different agencies. This is because that not all the nations are sharing the data or damage or impact of the landslides with the international body. That is a problem. I will show you some of the examples. Now let us see, this is a estimate by World Health Organizations. They also publish some beautiful data and reports where they have shown through a study between 19 years of study between 1998 and 2017, they have shown that about 4.8 million people are affected because of landslides throughout the world. And it caused nearly 18,000 deaths. I think you will get another picture after 2 or 3 slides where you will get that this 18,000 deaths might be a little bit underreported. Now, this is another work done by NASA. They also prepare the global landslide catalog. So from this picture, you can get an idea that where the major or the fatal landslides are located. Nowadays, this terminology are being used very commonly, which is called fatal landslides. Landslides are occurring in different places, but we as a society or the community is more concerned when it is actually affecting the people or taking the lives. So nowadays, this terminology is being used very frequently, which is called that fatal landslides. Now we can see the condition of India and its surrounding, the extra peninsular region of India and surrounding, where the number of fatal landslides are quite high. Now, this is also another work by NASA. They are also showing the potential landslide, you can show some sort of vulnerability or activity through some data of landslides they are collecting worldwide. And you can see the entire Himalayan range are showing in red, which shows that the landslide activity is here very high. Then some parts it is covered by the dots in the Western Ghats, some part in the northwestern parts. But I think that some of the data are they are taking in from within the peninsular part. Yes, there are some slope stability problems occurs in some hill karst slopes and they are in the peninsular regions also. But the major problem area is definitely the extra peninsular region of the country. Now, this is a very fantastic work by a group from Durham University, Froud and Petley. They published this very, you can say controversial, very well discussed paper in 2018, where they have shown the India considered to be the most affected landslide as far as the landslide occurrence is concerned. You can see the number of landslide events. It is shown that India is becoming red. That means India is showing the highest number of the landslide incidences or events. And that is perhaps to some extent true, because just 1 minute. Just lost my presentation. Just 1 minute. Yes. This could be very true pictures. If I go to the data slowly, I will show you some of the data, then you will understand. In the same paper, Froud and Petley also given very interesting observations. One observation is that that's why I was telling that the death figure might be different from different authors or different people, because they are showing that they have done some studies between 2004 and 2016, almost the similar period. And they were showing that from 829 fatal landslides from India, the deaths were 10,900, which they are telling that it is 18% of the global landslide casualties between that particular period. This is quite substantial figure. And what Dr. Shailesh Naik Saab was telling, that the landslide is creating havoc and India is really facing a lot of problems in recent times. Now, another interesting figure, it is coming up that it is true that most of the landslides which are occurring in our subcontinent or in the world, they are mostly rainfall triggered. So obviously there is a connections with the rainfall or the monsoon precipitations and the landslides. Now, if I see the total global landslide triggered by rainfall, then 16% are also contributed from India. So India actually contributes a large number of landslide incidences globally. And out of these 16% landslides, it has been seen that 77% of them are occurring during Indian monsoon period. So Indian monsoon is a very important trigger for, and we are also always facing landslides mostly during that period. But most interesting results or most discussed later was this point, which I mentioned in 4, 5, and 6, that of late these database have shown that anthropogenically triggered landslide is increasing in India. We will see some of the data, some of the work of ours also, which also to some extent support this inference. And most important is that about 28% of the landslides which are reported by India in this particular work were construction triggered landslides, which is very, very high compared to, if you say, other developing nations like China, Pakistan, other nations. Our contribution is very, very high. And also there are substantial amount of landslides triggered by mining. Mining here, I should say that because of there are some quarrying, mining activities are also going on in the hills. From that also actually triggering a lot of landslides. These are very, very important figures which actually have shaken our administrators, our planners, everybody, and also us. When the contribution of anthropogenic factors becoming more important, then really it is becoming very challenging for us to predict. Now, accepting the permafrost terrain, if we see that around 12.6% of Indian land mass, which is spreading over 18 parts of 18 states and UTs, are landslide prone. This assessment has been done already. Even our national project, National Landslide Susceptibility Mapping projects, actually worked for the entire this area. Here 1.5 lakh square kilometer is present in the northwestern Himalaya, and then the eastern Himalaya and the northeastern part, including Arunachal Pradesh, it is coming 1.8 lakh square kilometer, and 1 lakh square kilometer is there in the Western Ghats, and a very small part is there in the Eastern Ghats. But the most interesting thing is that India, as you all know, that geologically it is very diverse. So our landslide failure mechanism, which we are experiencing, it is also quite different what we are observing in the Himalayas and what we are observing in other parts. I will show you some of the examples. Now, this is a particular figure I just wanted to share with you, that we have a program called post-disaster studies, that whenever there is a major disaster occurring during the monsoon, then GSI, since GSI has a last mile connectivity, GSI has offices, 14 offices in different states. So we immediately launch a program. We send our officers to see those major landslides. We cannot go to all landslides. We go to the major landslides and take data. So we also, each and every year, we are also taking a lot of data and information. But you will see, if you see the Kerala data in the last 5 years, there were 2-3 major events. And in this particular environment, specialization or area of work, we do take help of our sister organizations also. Here, in this particular Kerala event in 2018 and 19, there was huge landslides occurred. Even in last year also some landslides occurred. We worked along with national remote sensing agencies. They prepared the landslide inventory through the remote sensing technique. And they gave the inventory to GSI, and GSI field validated those inventory, and then we actually populated in the national landslide inventory after sharing the data with NRSC also. But most interesting event, the data I just wanted to share you, because last year was really, really very tough and very slightly unnatural year, I could say, that in the last year during monsoon, GSI had to present before the Union Home Secretary 2 times, because last year we have experienced really a certain spike in landslide activity. Now, if you see our last 3-year data of fatal landslides, we had around 25 events. So on average, we are expecting 8 to 10 events per year. These are very major fatal events. But till September 2021, in 2021, we already got 25 major fatal landslide events. So there was a sharp increase, 200% increase already in the normal fatal landslides. Now these, everybody are telling, or also we are also to some extent believing that there might be some connection, maybe remote connections with the climate change forcings. Maybe climate change is actually forcing for extreme events. Our frequency of extreme events are increasing, and even the landslide is occurring in very low susceptible areas also, because every surface has a carrying capacity. If the soil or the overburden, it can hold this much of water or pore water pressure. But if suddenly there is a huge downpour, that maybe the surface, the soil cover cannot hold that, and it actually triggers slips. Now I will show you some of the examples. Those are very interesting examples in India. These are the pictures of a very old massive event which is caused by because of a very high amount of rainfall. So these past pictures gives us an idea that how the landslide frequency or landslide, you can say the numbers can increase because of if there are very high amount of incessant rainfall for a shorter period of time. This is a big event of Darjeeling 1968. And this event actually became a multi-hazard event, landslide, flood. Then flood also triggered landslides because tow was cut on the abutment of the major trunk systems, trunk rivers. And you can see the suddenness of the event, that a moving convoy was covered by landslide. It was a very dreadful event in 1968. The GSI has done a very good amount. It's a special publication is also there, where we can see that nearly 2 years the state government took to clear the national highways, the muck and the debris which was fallen there. And in Darjeeling, Sikkim, Himalayas, whatever major, big, large landslides we are seeing, it has a connection with this 1968 initiation. Now, apart from that, we also get very deep-seated rock slides. Those are mainly Himalayan slides, I should say, very big, very large landslides, but not affecting much on the population. But the reasons or the presence of landslides give you an idea that what is the connectivity of the landslides and also the intrinsic factor. That means geology, structure, what is its relations between that. Now, apart from that, another very important aspect which we are seeing in the Himalayas is the flows, because landslide initiates from the above, but when it is bringing the debris along some channels or hollows, it is actually devastating the settlement part. So these flows are creating also problem not only in the Himalayas, but in other terrain also. Now you can see, apart from that, there are very shallow type of landslide. We call it in technical terms, shallow translational landslides. These landslides are more in the Himalayas because of high rainfall event. And these are also present in the other terrain also when there is a very downpour is very high, or the ground recharge is very high. Now you can see one of the Himalayan debris flow, which is Zima landslides. You can see the size. It's a very large landslides, large flow, and you can see, you can understand the vehicle, one small vehicle is passing and the Bailey Bridge is there. But how vulnerable the Bailey Bridge is there, because this was quite active for a longer period of time. And this is also another incident. The initiation zone, which we have seen that it is coming from a very highly susceptible areas, but actually there were no people living there. People were living in the place where apparently the susceptibility conditions was lower, but actually because of the run out of the flow, the houses and these things were covered and 19 people died there. Now, another very interesting observations what we have found, especially in the Himalayas, that here the land use changes are extremely rapid. And in Himalaya, we used to study the landslides because Himalaya is one place where the chances of reactivation of the landslide from a single location is very, very high. You see this landslide, this was a landslide in 2003 as a rock wedge around 200 meters below. Its crown was 200 meters below the national highway. In 2006, it touched the national highway, and 2010, it went above the national highway. Now you can see the status of this landslide till 2012 and 13. But you see now, again, there is a lull in activity, so the vegetation cover is coming up. And this is a very important observations I want to share with you, and that's why we always give very, very important, much importance to the landslide mapping or landslide inventory mapping. Because if you lose the time in the Himalayas, especially the smaller landslide, you will never able to find even in the remote sensing data product also. So that is very, very important. Now you see, this is a very important landslide in North Sikkim. I mapped this landslide in 2005. It was one of the very dreaded landslide of that area. The borderers used to put a placard here by telling that you have tested Campa Cola, Coca-Cola, now you taste Lanta Cola. This landslide is called Lanta Cola. It was 1 kilometer long debris flow affecting the North Sikkim highway. This is the only thoroughfare from the Gangtok to the upper reaches. The same landslide, when I visited in 2011, I passed this area, I could not find these cars, because in between there were less activity in this area. So the vegetation started growing. So this is also very important to understand that you will find some report that some landslide naturally got stabilized. Yes, it happens and if you can put some protective structure, some remediation structure, which is I should say more congenial to the ground conditions, then we can help naturally stabilize these landslides. And this is proofs are there on the ground. Now coming to another terrain, northeastern India, where you will find the typical landslides within the overburden material, because there is some mature topography is there, some places, especially Meghalaya and Assam and these places, where landslides occurring only within the overburden part. And these similar pictures we are also finding to Kerala and other part of the Western Ghats. But here the problem is the population density is so high. So the element at risk, which is actually infringing with the landslide, is actually causing the problem. So the hazard become more risky here because it is interacting with the habitations. So here the challenge is, everybody of you know the way the Kerala event is going on for the last 2018 and 2019. A lot of people are facing problems there because their population density is there more, and because of the huge rainfall, and there is also some reporting of land use changes. We are working in a project for land use changes there also, and it is there the land use has suddenly changed there in some areas, which is also causing problem. Now most interesting now or more challenging to the geologist is the flows nowadays. What we are seeing, this is a particular example I wanted to share. This is the Pettimudi landslide, which occurred in 6th August 2020. In one event, 66 people died. It is in Idukki district. Actually, our map, all the susceptibility zonation, which actually model the zone of initiation. It can model very well the zone of initiation. So in our susceptibility map also, its source zones were predicted. But what happened? The source zone to the actual affected zone is 2 kilometers. And it took around 40 minutes to flow along this channel. But the unfortunate thing was here some tea laborer colony were there, and they were having tinned roofs, and huge downpour was going on. And if anybody has stayed in a tin roof house during the monsoon time, you can understand how the sound of raindrop falling on the tin roof is very, very high. Even these unfortunate people could not hear the rumbling sound of the material coming along this channel. Had they been heard those things, they could have fled from that place and they could have saved their life, but they could not. Unfortunately, all people were buried, and these things are actually really giving us tremendous challenge that how we can develop or further improve our susceptibility map with the runout and accumulation zone information. I will show you we are working in these directions also. Now, some of the examples I will show that these are very interesting observations, and these the data GSI gathered just after the event. Our officers used to visit there and they collected informations. I am passing out these figures. These are all death figures which we got from the state government. In Maharashtra, there were 6 events, including 2 events in Mumbai town itself. Then in Himachal Pradesh, especially this year, and Uttarakhand, we had very prominent events. And now at present, I can share you GSI, Uttarakhand State Disaster Management Authority are working together. And we have prioritized some districts there, and we are doing in a more prioritized way in complete coordination with the Uttarakhand and also Himachal Pradesh state government. Now, even the Kerala this year, last year in the October event, 26 deaths were reported. And in Uttarakhand, we have repetitive event. One event is very famous, as you know, the 7th February event of Rishiganga disaster. It actually reported death was 81, but 123 is feared missing. So more than 200 deaths were reported. And this is a very well covered landslide well studies. We have also studies. ISRO has studied. A lot of agencies, Wadia has studied there. And most interesting observations which we found that I want to share, that suppose in the case of Maharashtra incidents, the rainfall data showed that in those areas within 2-3 days there was a nearly 340% increase of rainfall. It was a huge downpour suddenly. This could be explained by the climatologists better than me, that why these things are occurring or the frequency of extreme events are occurring nowadays. Now here the problem is that as I have told before also, except in one locations, all the places the source zone were predicted well by our map, but the deposition, the accumulation zone, which was actually occurring in a low ground where the slope is very favorable, those things were not predicted well, and the effect of hazard actually caused there. So this gives us an impetus, some idea that we have to do a debris flow modeling studies, and we have to transform our susceptibility map into debris flow model map. Now, another very important thing which we do not get in other terrain, we mostly get it in Himalayas, that is called rockfall. This year in Basseri, one road is going towards Chitkul along the Baspa Valley. And I recently visited this site also. I have seen that it was really a place where the road is aligned along a very steep hill surface. And the road was is obviously very narrow there. A lot of tourists used to go to Chitkul and those places. And these places, if there is a rock fall, there is no place to flee. You cannot flee from that place. It's not possible. And this has happened during that time. Huge rock fall. I think many of you have seen some of the videos which were actually in circulation in WhatsApp. And those events occurred because there was no rainfall on that day. There was some rainfall 2-3 days before. But in this particular area, lot of glaciofluvial actions and its imprints are there in the terrain. The rocks which are there in the high altitudes are highly serrated and weathered. Might be those could be a reason somewhere some perturbations occur and one boulder fell down in an area where previous boulder accumulation zones were there on the slopes. Those boulder accumulation zone, dry boulder, rock boulder were present. It was actually accentuated by the main slide or detachment at the high altitude, and it actually created the shower of boulders below to the road. And here, unfortunately, few tourists who were traveling in the vehicle, they died. This is another incident of a typical debris flow damage in Himalayas, where no map can solve this problem. We have to change our habitability. We have to change the way we should use the land. Here, what happened? There was a rock ledge, and this rock ledge actually saved a group of people on this side, but actually devastated. The debris flow which was coming, it actually got diverted from this rock ledge, and straightaway it went to the right abutment and actually completely covered the villages here. So these things we have to understand, and for understanding all those things, really some knowledge of geology, some knowledge of understanding is required. And we are definitely trying to give a lot of awareness through awareness program. We are telling it to a lot of our. So this is another example. This is another example. This is another example from Himachal Pradesh itself, where a old landslide was there, and so our study actually showed that this old landslide gave some signs that this area is quite disturbed, but because of the different the rock conditions and the structural problems there, because the structure was also completely unfavorable, slope was very steep there, and because of these old landslides, the area was initially not favorable for a safer place. No protection structure was there, and it actually initiated a very large rock slides, and where one bus was trapped, and I think here also a lot of people have lost their life. And this is another example which I was giving, that mining actually created a problem. Suddenly in Silmore area, a huge slide was occurred along this is a state highway, not a national highway. And here, when we visited the site, we have seen an abundant large rock quarry there at the toe. So already toe was disturbed. We have seen, we could not understand that any time this could actually invite a large retrogressive movement upward, and it happened. So we have to understand that how we will treat our Himalayan terrain and slope for our requirement. That is very, very important nowadays. And this incident, everybody knows, you have read in the paper, and this was really very peculiar incident. One large rock slide occurred in such a high altitude, along with it started falling from an altitude of 5,500 meters, and a huge volume of rock, ice, avalanche came down. It hit the Ranthi Ghat, that is a tributary of the Rishiganga river, and then it actually resulted shower of debris and rock which flowed downhill, and then when it met the confluence with the Rishiganga, it made a artificial dam there. Still the dam is there. I think for a longer period, the state government, everybody was actually observing that artificial lake, because this was very dangerous. And then it came down, and as you all know, there were construction workers were working in a project down below, and they were all buried. They could not get the time to only 55 minutes. NRSC has done a very good work on this, and they have published one paper. They have shown that from the series of events, from taking the data from the international agencies, they have made a time series, and they have shown that around 55 minutes it took, starting from the falling of the rock, the initiation of the rock slides, and the passing of the debris from the Vishnughat project. So within 55 minutes, it is also very, very challenging and difficult to actually develop a early warning system even in that period. These are some of the disaster pictures. Everybody knows I just placed that how a landslide event or disaster can be. But the most interesting point is that, okay, we know that landslides are occurring, landslide occurring every year, but what so many people are working here, what type of data we have, which with the help of that, how we can reduce the risk. Now, in these connections, I have to tell that the role of Geological Survey of India, because Geological Survey of India has been declared in 2004 as the nodal agency for landslides. And since then, GSI was given a 3-point mandate by Government of India that GSI has to coordinate and undertake. First thing is the multi-scale landslide hazard zonation. They have to prepare the hazard zonation maps, because this is the primary base level information. Then they should engage themselves for monitoring landslides and early warning, and also studying the causal factors and suggesting preventive measures. Based on these 3 mandates, GSI from 2004 especially, they have started formulating all the programs, which included landslide hazard zonation, monitoring of conspicuous landslides, to evolve landslide early warning. Though we could not make much progress on that, but now I will show you that since 2017, we are really working hard for this landslide early warning system, and I will share something about that. And in 2013, after the Uttarakhand disaster, we launched a national program, because all our work till that period was a piecemeal, not ours. Any other agency also who were doing the work, they could do and they could cover a small areas. But in 2013, after seeing the Uttarakhand deluge, we understood that no, now time has come that we have to work for the entire 4.34 lakh square kilometer areas and prepare a seamless landslide susceptibility map for the country. And we started that program. We trained young officers. We actually launched specialized training programs. We trained them, and then we started this program, and then we almost completed that program. I will show, but before that, I just wanted to share, since a lot of our seniors are here, that GSI's landslide journey is not a new one. We have been doing work since 1880. We have a very rich heritage. The first studies done in India, perhaps on landslide, is in Nainital, the famous Nainital landslide by Sir R.D. Oldham. And then another very important study is the Gohana landslide. It was a large, massive rock fall which actually blocked the Birei Ganga River. And with the advice of Dr. Holland, that time the water was released in a regulated manner, and the people at the downstream were diverted or shifted to other places, and a big hazard was averted. Then came the very, very famous disaster of Darjeeling town, where Darjeeling town was used by the Britishers as the sanatorium for the soldiers, and where nearly 82 soldiers died. That time European soldiers died means huge matter, and the director GSI was called. At that time, I think superintending of geologist of GSI was called, and he did his fantastic memoirs there in our Calcutta library. And since 1945, GSI as a part of the special investigation projects, we undertook landslide investigations primarily based on the request of various stakeholders. But as I told that since 1980, when we have started doing some zonation, and 2004 we have made the zonation program and other studies in a more planned manner. But in 2013, we have consolidated our effort. In 2013 to 2019, what we have seen that GSI has done huge amount of work. Let us keep those work in some publication form. So we published 5 regional compendiums. All these regional compendiums are published. In these compendiums, you can get the entire picture of GSI's work in a nutshell or in a snapshot in those regions, starting from GSI's inception to 2014. After 2014, since we were doing a national program, so those publications will come later on. But whatever maps we are generating since 2014, we are readily publishing in our website, in our map service, so that people can utilize those data. Apart from that, we have also started 2 research projects mainly. We have seen that the role of interferometry or SAR is becoming very, very important nowadays. So we have started an R&D on SAR project, which initially started with NRCan Canada, but presently we are doing ahead with that studies. And as I told that we are doing some prioritized program in Himachal Pradesh. Himachal Pradesh, we will be doing a SAR-based studies. We are putting in collaboration with the state government, the corner reflector there. Then in 2017 onwards, we have signed an MOU with British Geological Survey, and we have started a very ambitious program called Landslide. That Landslide project is going to end this year, and where we have developed a prototype model for regional landslide early warning that I will touch upon after some time. But after the landslide susceptibility mapping project launched, we have achieved something that till date, nearly 85% of the total target have been completed. That means map is ready. Map is ready. And most interestingly, while doing the mapping, because it's a multi-thematic exercise where landslide incidence mapping is one of the very, very important product, and we have mapped within that 85% target area, nearly 61,287 landslides. Out of that, 50% of landslides have been field validated by Geological Survey of India. Now in Arunachal Pradesh, just I got an information 2-3 days back. Our map compilation is going on there. So maybe within 2-3 months or maybe 3-4 months, all the rest of the map of Arunachal Pradesh will also be published online. And we have seen a very interesting figure that Arunachal Pradesh, we got nearly 24,000 landslides recorded by our officers from different products. So if you add those, the national landslide inventory of GSI will have 85,000 landslides. It's a huge number. But one thing is that it cannot be a one-time exercise, because all the landslide susceptibility, landslide incidents, it's a dynamic thing. It gives you a snapshot of a particular time frame. So what we have already inbuilt in our program, that every 5 years, every year we are collecting landslide incidence data. That I have shown you some picture where in 5 years we have collected nearly 3,600 data. So we will be augmenting this data, and this figure will be updated annually. And landslide susceptibility map will also be updated on a regular manner after 10 years, or if there is an event, immediately. We will just, all the data are GIS enabled format in our process format in the map service engines. We have kept it. We will just change 2 maps, landslide incidence and the land use, land cover, and we can easily prepare a new set of susceptibility information. Now these are the maps, very simple map. It was colored in 3 colors, where you can get an idea that where the propensity or the proneness of the landslide is more, or the likelihood of landslide is more. Those are colored as red, and green are showing moderate and low is low. Now This particular project has given us tremendous amount of information. If you ask me in 2014 that Saibal, please tell me how many landslides are there in Nagaland, I wouldn't have able to tell that. Because nowadays, so many questions, even today there is a parliament questions today on landslides. But we could not been able to give an answer, very pertinent answer to the public, to the community, that how many landslides are there in a district, how many landslides are there in a state. Now these data are with us. We can tell that how many areas are highly susceptible, how many areas, how many districts are landslide prone. So every data has come up through this project. You can see each district and state-wise data, susceptibility, landslide density, everything is there. And we have seen that around 158 districts are landslide prone in the country. And here you can also say a beautiful power law function is working here. You can say easily that nearly 5% high susceptible areas are having nearly in 67 districts. And as we are having more landslide susceptibility percent, the number of districts are obviously reducing. Say, for example, there is only one district in our database which shows more than 45% area is high. Now, this is a fantastic information which gives you a very good food for regional land use planning. And another very important thing, it has also given food for us that it has helped us to identify or zero down to the areas where we will take up the upscaled work, because now GSI's main thrust is doing the mesoscale landslide susceptibility mapping and also site-specific work. We have identified nearly 200 sectors out of this project, and now we are working on that. Every year around 20-30 projects we are taking, and we are preparing more detailed observations and detailed interpretations on those areas and supplying it to the state government free of charges. But this as such is a fantastic base map or baseline data which is being used by a lot of people. Now where you will get this data, go to GSI website, go to our Bhukosh map portal, go to our GSI website. This is our Bhukosh map portal, click it. Please download the PDF document, how to download the data. Here you can see GSI's most prestigious product of 50,000 geological map. Now it is free for downloading. You can download as a shape files, not as a PDF. You can do your post-processing work in GIS. And now these two are our landslide database. One is the landslide susceptibility database, and this is the landslide inventory database. Now in inventory susceptibility database, I am just zeroing the Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. You can see the landslide susceptibility are coming. Then this is the landslide inventory where GSI has field validated this landslide. These landslides are there. This is nearly 30,000. And each and every landslide has nearly 41 parameter data, which our field officer collect from field. It's a huge database, and lot of researchers are downloading it. Lot of different organizations are downloading it. You can see that landslide inventory data has been downloaded 6,500 times. NLSM data has been downloaded by 5,300 times by this much of users who are having different affiliations. So we are happy from GSI that our data, our product, which our officers are preparing, are being used by our countrymen. And apart from that, the entire this geodatabase is being shared through a web map service with the NDMA map portal. So NDMA is sharing this data with the state government. So nobody can say now that landslide susceptibility map is not there or hazard donation map there. Though strictly it is not hazard donation map, but still susceptibility map is not there. Nobody can say that. That work is completed. Apart from GSI, I have talked much on GSI, but apart from GSI, there are 30 organizations. GSI is also maintaining a metadata in our website, where we are also getting idea from other organizations whose data are in the public domain. Those data we have seen around 30 organizations are there, but the major organizations are NRSC, IIRS, WADIA, CBRI, CRRI, IITs, NSES, BRO also doing some work, Amrita University, DGRE. DGRE is a new organization has come up by merging the SASE, Snow Avalanche Study Establishment, and DTRL, Defense Terrain Research Laboratory. These two organizations are now merged. This is under, but DGRE, one problem is there since they are from the Defense Ministry, so all data are not in the public domain. They are mainly doing the work for the defense forces. But we have a joint project with DGRE for site-specific landslide monitoring and early warning in 2 places. Now, I will not touch upon very scientific part. The susceptibility map is a substantial research have been done between 2007 and 11. Based on the scientific research, the methodology have been curved, and this methodology have been actually utilized in an operational program. This is a fantastic example where research actually preceded from to a operational program. The research outputs were not only limited to the research publications, but it has been utilized in an operational nationwide program. Actually, this methodology which we published in Geomorphology, those were actually utilized in the landslide susceptibility mapping program, and now the project is almost under. Now our dream project is landslide susceptibility mapping on 10,000 scale. This is very, very important because, as you know, a lot of people are telling that 50,000 we cannot utilize for very site-specific or local planning. Yes, you are right, but our 10,000 map will have a lot of other informations. Now you see our 10,000 map already is giving the map of susceptibility based on different domains. This we have learned after working with British Geological Survey, and now we are producing, instead of one map, 4 or 5 maps based on the different failure mechanisms. That means, suppose an area is actually susceptible to rock slide, the protection measures, the remediations which are required for rock slide may be different than debris slides. So the planners and administrators, they require different type of products, and that's why this methodology has been construed and methodology has been farmed up. We are preparing it. Now you can see in a road corridor what a detailed information our GSI geologists are collecting from field. And as you know, as you upscale, dependence on the remote sensing data is getting reduced with time, obviously, because you have to collect more field-based information. These are more field-based intensive data we are collecting, and we are trying to produce very, very site-specific way of tackling the problem. Now, I have told you our main challenge has become now the debris flow models, the debris accumulation zone, runout zone, that we are now trying to develop through a debris flow susceptibility mapping. We are slowly updating. These maps are actually showing the debris flow runout zones and accumulation zones. These maps, we are not in a position to prepare this map for the entire India, but wherever we are doing the early warning project, those important districts, we are changing the susceptibility map with a combined susceptibility map, including the debris flow impact probability also. So this will be very helpful to know, to understand where, if a landslide initiates, where its material can go. This is some of the examples I just shown. Now, in the particular work, another dimensions we are adding, because it's very difficult. See, you know that our inventory says that we have 85,000 landslides. It is not possible to visit each and every landslide and suggest and give remediation for every landslide. So in our 10,000 scale work, we are actually preparing a management map where, for the most affected areas which is affected by high susceptibility assessed through our 10,000 scale studies, and also we have active landslides, those areas are demarcated and highlighted by giving suggestions of remediations, maybe permanent, maybe these type of maps we are also producing and giving along with this susceptibility map to the state government. And this becomes very helpful for them to understand where they have to immediately take some actions. This we have started, and we have a plan that whatever 10,000 scale work we are producing, this particular management map and the susceptibility map will combine, and we'll making a folder, state-wise folder. We'll give it to the state government, Union Home Ministry, and also we'll publish those, so that at least we will be able in a position to tell that in those areas, not only we have done the scientific work in studying the susceptibility, but also we have preliminarily suggested the remediations and remedial measures there also. So that could be, these are the some of the how we do the site-specific studies, and how we do the mapping, then modeling. And nowadays we are incorporating advanced instruments with our work also. This is a 3D terrestrial laser scanner. This is a very, very handy and very, very sophisticated instruments. The landslide, these landslides I mapped in 2005-06. I took nearly 30 days. This machine can map it within 2-3 days. Apart from that, the SAR interferometry data analysis we are doing, we have done the work, and now we are going to launch this work in Himachal Pradesh. But the most interesting work we are now doing, it's an international project along with the British Geological Survey, Landslide, where our objective is to develop a prototype model for landslide early warning. We have already developed. Now at 3 places we are issuing the early warning bulletins, where the source data we are taking from all the national agencies. We have signed an 10-year-old MOUs with the IMD. We are getting all data from IMD, the daily rainfall forecast data, past rainfall data, everything we are getting from IMD. We have recently signed MOU with NRSC also. NRSC is supplying us with the landslide incidence data. And we are actually developing a rainfall threshold equations, terrain-specific rainfall threshold equations, and then we combining with that, we are producing 2 types of forecast. One is short-range forecast, another is medium-range forecast, and our forecast is actually based on a region. That means we are now able to give forecast up to the block level, and we are giving it in 3 areas: Darjeeling district, Kalimpong district, and Nilgiri district. Soon this year, monsoons, we are going to start from Uttarakhand, Rudraprayag districts also. So slowly we are penetrating. We have a plan to do it in 10 states in the near future. But another very interesting thing I just wanted to show you, this presentation I gave before the Secretary MORTH, and he was little bit annoyed when she has seen this slide from our NLSM work. I was telling that all our susceptibility zone and landslides are somehow aligned along the road. Then he was telling that whether you are telling that our roads are creating the landslides. Then I told him, no, sir, but the data is telling something. I am presenting the data to you. Then after the detailed meeting, they have also agreed that yes, the landslides are occurring because of road construction, and nobody can deny that. And how it can be reduced, some of the suggestions they have got from us, we have tried to tell to them. We have shown them some examples. This is one example that in any areas, actually the basic lithology structure, they play the important role. And as you know, in Himalayas, it changes, and that's why the susceptibility conditions or the lithological conditions, slope conditions changes. Even the slope changes, its direction changes, everything changes. So when you are actually doing a road widening work or road excavation work, you have to be very, very careful about the knowledge, about the rock condition. So they should have consulted. They are telling that they are consulting with with all those informations, but if you see, actually it is not, they are not following all the time. They cannot follow all the time. They are excavating in the similar manner, irrespective of the rock quality. And that is actually creating havoc in some places. You can see some of the examples. Recently, we have worked in Jammu and Kashmir for 10 landslides. These areas were identified earlier by GSI as the highly landslide prone areas, and active landslides were there. Even the similar type of excavation pattern they followed, and those landslides have become now very big and large landslides. We have mapped again, and we have shown them again that please follow these basic principles. Your drilling pattern, your excavation pattern has to follow in a more designed manner, and the design has to follow the geology. Now, these are the studies we do as far as landslide susceptibility or the site-specific susceptibility is concerned. And we are also suggesting a lot of remediation measures for different type of landslides. And some of the landslides, just I wanted to say you that it cannot be even solved if you do not resort to the permanent remediation measures. This work I have done in Sikkim, where huge rockfall used to occur. You can see the terrain. Here we had to suggest a tunnel, and now the tunnel is working. If you go to Chungthang, you will find that tunnel, and the tunnel has actually saved that area from lot of rockfall zones were there. So you have to. This is a fantastic example of recent work. There was a very large landslides in Tindharia in way to down way to Darjeeling, and here one this is a railway has done this work. They have invested huge amount of money. One private concern has done good work. They have done a reinforced earth structure, which they are claiming is the tallest reinforced earth structure, and these landslides have been remedied. But as you know that we cannot invest so much amount of money always. So we have to understand which landslides require which type of. You will not find this type of remediation always. So we have to follow, because our country doesn't have that much of money also to spend, but we have to make a compromise. That's why studying in a multi-scale way is a must to assess the risk along the different. That's why we have suggested this. We have suggested to our MORTH people that you have to follow geological investigation at multiple scales. You have to plan remediations and mitigations based on the above multi-scale studies. You have to evaluate the risk at each trouble spot. Delineate the old landslide zones, especially in the Himalayas, because these are actually weak places or the places for reactivations. And you have to undertake excavation assuming or adopting the design cut slope based on the geotechnical properties of slope forming material, which they are not always following. Another very important thing is that if you go to the hill road construction is only having the area of influence 30 meter above the road, 30 meter below the road, but actually landslide doesn't follow this rule. So we have also suggested to change their legislation of the area, work around the road alignment. This is our future plan, how we can go. And we have already launched this program. This is approved by our ministry. Now it is approved by Ministry of Home Affairs. We are developing a state-of-the-art center at Kolkata, Landslide Early Warning Center. Presently, we are working in 5 states for landslide early warning. We are augmenting another 5 states from next field season. We have already done 26 sector completed this year for 10,000 scale. This year we are doing in 29 sectors. Next year we have taken almost similar amount of work, and we have already completed 25 site specific studies, but we have a plan to complete 100 sites by near future. Vital R&D by others. I must want to share some other agencies like NRSC are doing fantastic work on landslides, and those work are being published, and these are really very good work which are reckoned with by a lot of scientists, even by us also always. This is they have done very good work on the earthquake induced landslide. GSI is not doing much work on earthquake induced landslides, but these are also a very important subject. Even NRSC has done very important work on landslide partitioning, for which help in doing the susceptibility modeling. And in Kerala, though we have jointly worked, they have published a very good paper, and they have also understood about the debris flow problem and how the debris flow models have been working there. This is some work by NRSC. Then one important work is also being done. These are a few work I am just showcasing, not all, that by Wadia Institute of Himalayan Geology, they have done very good work on co-seismic landslides, and they have also done a prediction analysis. That is most important. Now, CBRI and CRRI are continuously doing the work. They have done fantastic work on site-specific debris flow susceptibility modeling, and it is very, very helpful. Even our methodology, which we have adopted, we are taking their help also. They have done good amount of work on landslide risk modeling. What I just shown you is only susceptibility. There are another stage where we have to do this risk analysis, where you have to understand the consequences and losses. Good work has been done by them. And there are two institutions presently working on site-specific landslide monitoring and early warning. One is Amrita University. They have done very good work in Munnar. Now they are also working in one landslide in Gangtok. We are also working with them for not for landslide projects. We have worked with them, and apart from that, another agency which is IIT Mandi, where two young chaps are working. They have developed some very low cost sensors through which we are actually in Himachal. We are also promoting them to put those sensors in very vulnerable places. And one work as far as the site-specific remediation, modeling, and the rock slope stability modeling, IIT Mumbai, led by Professor T.N. Singh, they are doing excellent work, continuously publishing good work, and they have produced and they are also doing a lot of project mode of work with some agencies, and they are producing very good results. But I want to refer this to work which has recently come up, and it has brought the attention of a lot of people. Both the paper published in a very high impacted journal, one in Science, one in Nature Communications. And here some new thing they have tried to focus, that is that they have indicated, especially the work of NGRI and some German group, they have indicated that it is possible by getting the data of regional seismic network, and it is possible to do some sort of early warning. This is very, very interesting work. And when I presented this before the Union Home Secretary, even I also referred this particular study, and I told that this is a new area, new good R&D is work going on by NGRI and also our WADIA. And if something comes up, definitely this would be a very good, important light as far as landslide early warning is concerned. Now, what are the vital gaps? Vital gaps is that whatever analysis you want to do with the landslides, you require date and time of occurrence, volume and impact. Those things are actually lacking very much in our landslide data. Then assessing the depth to failure surface. You cannot do drilling at every places. So this is a big challenge. Then another very important thing is that still our country, as far as Himalaya is concerned, we do not have dense network of rainfall stations. So the rainfall threshold models we are developing, it still have lot of assumptions. Then multi-scale geological and geotechnical investigations, we are stressing it, but it is not always given very appropriate importance by the developers, because one thing is important is speed of development. Now, if we follow the speed of development always, then obviously we have to compromise always with the investigations. But these are very, very important things. And already available national geospatial data, still I am telling you, it is still not fully utilized. It needs to be utilized. Whoever is generating this type of data, national scale data, that has to be utilized. And R&D endeavors, very, very important. We should have an outlook of transforming our R&D output into operational program. The way I have shown you one example of what GSI did, this sort of examples. Now NGRI and WIAG is working on that particular landslide early warning aspects. I hope in near future we will get a good model and an operational system will be developed on that. And another very important thing is that we should have a mechanism, a system developed that we should always able to update the baseline geological and landslide hazard information. This is very, very important because this gives you a timestamp information. So if you do not update it, it is of no use. Since several agencies are in the landslide sector, there are some duplications. So that has to be minimized so that we can optimize our resources. Land use zoning regulations in hills are a must. Without that, we cannot reduce the landslide risk. And mitigation, site-specific landslide protection must precede detailed landslide risk estimation of the site. Now, conclusions, as I'm telling that we have to do multi-scale landslide inventory, hazard and risk mapping. These three are quite separate thing. We have to include the debris flow models. Even our susceptibility map, we have taken a objective to improve it with the debris flow models and vulnerability informations. And we have to make it mandatory that multi-scale landslide inventory and hazard and risk maps, whoever prepares, it has to be utilized in hills and mountains by the local authorities for planning and executions for any infrastructure projects, and also for land use zoning regulations. All vulnerable locations, villages, road stretches must be identified, monitored during monsoon. Vulnerable stretches of hill roads, if you go to any European countries, you will find that all the vulnerable road stretches are marked with signboards. Here, still, it is not there. It can be easily done. It has to be done. Adopt permanent solutions. Some places are, you have to take the road through that places, but you have to, through tunnels or viaducts, some permanent solutions. Landslide is a natural process. Always you cannot play with the landslides. And prioritizing site-specific investigation for mitigation using NDMA's project funding. NDMA, now I just wanted to share you, the 15th Finance Commission has given huge amount of money to the state government for landslide risk mitigation schemes. And I think 5 years back, GSI and other agencies, 18 agencies, we together prepare a landslide template, landslide modeling, the DPR preparation template. And we are giving a lot of training. Even this month end also, some training has been organized by NDMA, and I am also giving lecture there. So all these things which are there, government is also ready to fund. Those projects has to be more popularized and taken by the state government. And always we have to stress on the concurrent support measures. If we cut the slope and keep it for long, as an engineering geologist, we know it is of no use. So we have to immediately shortcut or immediately put remedial actions and implement effective drainage. This is a very important problem. I mean, very important issues. If drainage is not taken care of, then you cannot tackle landslides. And while constructing roads, slope treatments to be extended above and below, for which they need, the road people need some change in their legislations. And as I always tell, that building and construction of infrastructures, especially the hospitals, DC's office. I have seen the police thana on the Nala, on over the Nala in Uttarakhand. If you remember, during the Uttarakhand disaster, the SSB's entire office, a large office, was on the riverbed, and because of the flood, it washed away. So another time when there is a hazard in a hills, you need some places, some road connectivity, some areas which should be located in the most safest place available. That has to be taken care of, which I have just written here. Critical facilities, hospital, police stations, everything must be constructed in the most safer places. Take the help of our susceptibility map. You can find out the safer places and please construct those places. State-specific landslide mitigation and management plan has to be prepared, which we are now doing for Kinnaur district in Himalaya, Himachal Pradesh. We are doing. We have completed all the, we will be completing next year all the 10,000 scale work We will be working on 20 landslides, such as site-specific work, and the 50,000 scale work is over. So entire gamut of multi-scale studies will be available to the Kinnaur district, and then Kinnaur district has to plan for the specific landslide mitigations. But one important aspect is that regional landslide early warning and site-specific landslide early warning has to go hand in hand, because problems regional cannot identify the site-specific problem, but some of the site within a region may require site-specific LEWS, and that has to be implemented too. This is a particular picture I just kept. I am ending my presentation. This is a landslide occurred because of another triggering event which I have not touched in my lecture, but the entire Himalayan terrain is highly prone to that effect, that is called earthquake. This is the picture of China because of the Wenchuan earthquake of 2008, which actually triggered more than 1 lakh landslide in those areas. So we have to understand one thing: in our Himalaya, anytime any earthquake of more than 8 magnitude can occur, and it can make or it can create devastating landslide incidences those places. So we have to be very, very careful. And last but not the least, this is a people-oriented subject. So as GSI always take people along with it. So don't forget the people. We have to talk to them when we are doing the work, and we have to prepare the measures as per their requirement. Then only we can be successful. Thank you. Thank you for long patience to all of you. And if you have any questions, please, you are welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Saibal, for a very comprehensive and a long informative lecture. In fact, probably if we are given time, we can talk for another 3-4 hours, I believe. We can have a few questions, about 3-4 questions. And I can also add that the entire recording, video recording of this one will be uploaded into our website, where there is a provision for individuals, whether they are people who attended today or who are not attended also. They can raise their questions, and then Dr. Saibal Ghosh can reply also in the website itself. So that provision we have made for the earlier 4 lectures, 3 lectures, and this lecture also. It will be uploaded in a couple of days, and you can put the questions there also. It's a continuous affair. But today, if any questions are there, I think Adil Kumar Basu raised his hand. Does he want to ask question? If you want, please unmute and then ask question. It's not there? Okay, then Mr. Bhalla.
Good evening, everyone. I must congratulate Saibal, the Landslide Division, and the GSI, not necessarily in that order. It's a fantastic job they have done. I'm particularly happy because when this GSI was being made the nodal agency, I was in Delhi office, and the initial interaction with the Department of Border Management in the Home Ministry, I think some of those unpleasant tasks I had to do. But it's a far cry from that time when this particular cell was established. This team has done a great job. Now, having said that, my worry is on a different count. Beautiful, a very comprehensive data is there. Beautiful maps have been made. Very sensible suggestions are there. The question is that how far the authorities, whether the government or the those who execute it, they are really taking cognizance of this, because any such suggestion costs money to the somebody who is constructing anything. Even these days, if you go to any new Himalaya, any road in Himalayan areas, including even Kalka Shimla Road or beyond, I think some of the constructions of the road are really scary, especially if you know a little bit of geology. They're really scary, which means that the recommendations are not being taken care of. I won't go into the details of that, but this Saibal has made plenty of recommendations, plenty of things he has to say, all very sensible. But that sense can percolate down to the people only if there is a legislative framework supporting that. That this the GSI landslide division has to be consulted on this. I know GSI cannot say it, but that is where our own forum comes into picture. That if we can also become a kind of pressure group to really say that. That is what I wanted to say. I know GSI will not say it. I know there was one presentation in front of two ministers. The senior minister, after the presentation, I was the one who made the presentation. The senior minister commented that I didn't know that GSI exists. It's doing such a fantastic job. The junior minister, who was there for quite some time dealing with GSI, he said in Shuddh Hindi that, ma'am, GSI does work for Swam Sukha, that they do the work and feel happy about it, but it is never used. They never really go forward and push it forward for the government and other. One has to find out in the literature or in the other things to see that such a thing exists. I hope this work, which, as Saibal very rightly said, people oriented, that the casualties that happen do not pass off as a collateral damage for development. I think some legislative framework will need to be created, and if we can do something about creating a pressure group, that will be really fine. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your comment, sir.
Mr. Adil Kumar Basu, is he available? Okay, then I don't find him here.
Hello.
Hello. Jessican, you want to ask a question?
It's just, it's not actually a question, but I just wanted to clear my doubts, a little bit of doubts, because he has explained. I thank him for his very elaborative lecture talk, which I enjoyed. The politicians and the photogeologists and engineering geologists have something in common. That is, and the politicians will have sometimes landslide victory. But our Mr. Dr. Ghosh has also had now the landslide victory by expressing himself and dealing with all the matter of the landslides. So I have also experienced landslides from when I was traveling from Aishmukam to Jammu camp in 1980s, and the second one from Gangtok to Siliguri in during 90s when Mr. Krishnanunni was in Kolkata. So that was a great experience. It's a bitter experience for our family members, and a better experience for me being a geologist. See, God has created this world, and we cannot stop the landslides, but He has given us brain to train ourselves to give our maximum output to reduce the ill effects of landslides. So once again, I thank Dr. Ghosh for giving this excellent talk. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Can I speak?
Yeah, please. Balakrishnan, yes.
Yeah. Just I must say this is a very brilliant lecture Dr. Ghosh has delivered. We generally speak of E. Sridharan as the metro man of India. I would like to call Dr. Ghosh as the landslide man of India. You pursue this matter even after your retirement. Probably you are not going to retire shortly, but even after
5
retirement,
years.
you must pursue.
5 years are there. 5 years
Yeah,
are there.
very good.
Not. I look
Very
young,
good.
but 5
Very
years are
good.
there.
Yeah, and you should guide all the state governments and central government on this matter. One thing I just wanted to know, there are two questions I have, not really big questions. One is for a clarification. You said for Kerala had experienced 2,238 incidents of landslides. Can you just tell me for which period it was?
Yes, sir, this is because of two events. One is 2018 and another is 2019. Both events were quite very widespread event. Now, initially, the inventory which National Remote Sensing Center given to us, it is in the tune of 3,000 something. So we did the field work. We even the NRSC people was also did the field work along with us. So some of the landslides were not landslides. So those were after field validation, it was deleted. So it was coming around the figure which we confirmed it is around 2080, 2283. This
Yes.
is covering 2018 event, 2019 event, both.
It's a very disturbing figure, 2,238 landslides.
Yes.
Short period.
Actually, sir, it's happened. Not only it had not startled you only. It actually startled our art sciences minister. There was a parliament question last year, which was actually there are some start question where minister has to reply. So in that reply, the art science minister had to say that Kerala had some prominent event. Not only exactly on the Kerala, some event was also some landslide was also occurred in Karnataka also.
My next question is, if you have any reservation, you need not answer. That is, this Char Dham project taken up by the Ministry of Defense and by the border roads. It is a very majestic or grand project taken up by the Ministry of Defense. Whether that project will have any impact on the landslides, whether they have consulted you or GSI for this purpose?
Yes, sir. In all the Char Dham route, we are now doing 10,000 scale work. But the problem of doing 10,000 scale work is that the pace of road construction is so fast that even GSI people cannot keep pace on that. Suppose, for example, if we are say for kilometer 20 to kilometer 70, we have taken a program 1 year. The next year when we go there, when we see the old previous year's work, we see the terrain has been changed because they have constructed, they have widened that road. This is creating a problem. This is one aspect. Second aspect is that, as you know, this road construction in Uttarakhand went up to Supreme Court. If you remember, it went up to Supreme Court. So that time MORTA took the maps from us to defend their position in the Supreme Court also. But if you see the verdict, Government of India is stressing more on taking the road to the frontier areas because that becomes more important. Even they were telling that we will be tackling the landslides also, because from that statement it is clear that they have acknowledged that this area is landslide prone. There is no doubt about it. Now the challenge is that if you go to Alps, say for example, those areas also you will find landslides. But each and every slope is being protected and the road has been maintained in that manner. Now it involves huge amount of cost. Now my worry is that yes, civil engineering has gone quite ahead. So you can construct any structure there, but you have to invest huge amount of money. So if the country is thoughtful, if they can invest money, then definitely the road can be constructed with so many permanent solutions, maybe short tunnel, viaduct to cross the important or the worst stretches. And if the road is being constructed by properly designing the car slopes, then I think we can surmount this problem. Again, the caution is that it requires huge amount of money and investment. That I don't know whether our country is having that money or not.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, I think
my boss.
Can I speak, sir? Can I speak,
yeah,
sir?
please. Probably let us make it a last question because Dr. Saibal Ghosh has been speaking for more than 1.5 hours. Let us give.
Sir, I can speak, no issue, because I am seeing a lot of enthusiasm from our seniors. So I am ready to spare some time. No issue. If you can,
Saibal,
if you can
spare some. You're going to face a lot of questions to website also.
Okay, sir.
Please.
Sir, namaskar to all. Actually, it is not a question. First of all, I should say thank you to Dr. Saibal Ghosh, because just it is refreshing. Being a geologist, I have been associated with the landslides. So Dr. Saibal Ghosh touched right from the global scenario, the landslides on global scenario to site-specific studies. So the one gentleman raised the issue, even a question in the first question hour itself, as rightly pointed out. So GSA being a nodal agency, it was recognized and declared by the government of India. So there should be some right forum, because we have done the site-specific studies in many areas. Being a geologist, I have been associated with the site-specific studies in the Kannur area, that is Ooty in Tamil Nadu, Nilgiri district. So we have given a fantastic recommendation and other things, but nothing has been executed. But still, that settlements are there. So the execution part, because it is a right forum, we have the quite senior persons, stalwarts are available. They are highly influential. Even I give some sort of advice to the ministry or ministers. So that should be some execution part in a right forum based on the recommendations submitted by the GSI. This is our not a question. It is our request. This has to be judicially assessed and judicially implemented, so that there will be permanent solutions. Otherwise, just simply doing all these things, and it's just it's publishing in the form of report, that will not hold good, because there are areas. It is a frequent phenomenon in the mountainous terrains. So, particularly in the southern, Western Ghat, most of the landslides are rainfall induced, particularly in the southwest as well as northeast monsoon. A lot of casualties and heavy damages to the property, road, communication corridor, and other things. So the site-specific studies becomes mandatory. Whatever the recommendation given by the GSI, that has to be adhered by the state government or SDB. Thank you, sir. Thank you for this is my humble request to the forum.
Right then, I would like to make a few announcements and comments before proposing vote of thanks to Dr. Saibal Ghosh. First thing is, we have started this Krishnanunni Memorial Lectures exactly 1 year back by Professor Venkat Ramani of Pennsylvania University, and he was a batchmate of Krishnanunni in Dhanbad. It was a fantastic lecture, followed by 2 other lectures, and a great scientist like Sri Y.S. Rajan has sent me a message that you're arranging very scholarly lectures. And I think today's lecture is no exception. It maintained this same scholarly nature. Thanks, Saibal, for that. Another announcement which I want to make is today's WhatsApp group. I have uploaded a short documentary prepared by the school where Mr. Krishnanunni studied. It was a wonderful documentary in which his teacher in the school when he was studying, Ms. Indira, she also commented about him. And then, unfortunately, I understand she expired in November last. And then it was a wonderful presentation. Mostly it is in Malayalam, but it has got subtitles. I would like all the people to go through that one. And I intend uploading the same in the mails also tomorrow, because some people are not in the active in the WhatsApp group. In the mails also, I'll do that one. Next point which I want to make a few comments about his lecture. One is rather by way of suggestions. That is, way back when I was in Shillong in 80s, late 70s and 80s, we have studied at the instance of Central Water Commission, we have studied the aerial photographs, temporal photographs, 3 dates photographs of Arunachal Pradesh landslides. And we found that most of the landslides, they're probably in the midi coordinates they were there, and most of them got stabilized, and some got reactivated also. So that why I'm telling this one is the landslides being what they are, mostly caused by rainfall and anthropogenic causes. It is a continuous affair. So we should not be satisfied with creating one set of maps. It is a continuous business. And I would appreciate if the government of India thinks of having some separate department for this one, like they have for INCOIs, for monitoring the weather and other things. So I would like the government of India to give importance, and this is because this is affecting the public at large. Next thing is about Saibal Ghosh. Yes, I can claim to be a part of the selection committee for his deputation to ITC. Now, what happens is, you know that the school teachers, whether the primary school or the secondary school teachers, they feel very great pride if their students come up very high in the society, holding high positions, scientific, academic, political, and discipline. Today, my feeling about Saibal Ghosh is that I feel very proud that he has ridden to that race. My only suggestion to him is that he is a complete encyclopedia of landslides as such. But then, as somebody was suggesting, you continue to work all right, another 5 years, fine. But what is required is there is a need for developing continuous what they in computer parlance they call it KT, knowledge transfer. This has to be there. This has to be continuously done. And I would like you to take up this particular cause as such. And I am very proud that one. And then I thank you for readily agreeing to give this talk today. And then, as Dr. Nayak told, I was probably instrumental in suggesting your name, and because not out of any personal reason, because of your great studies in the landslides. And I heartily congratulate you for the excellent lecture. It is going to be uploaded in our website tomorrow. And then there is, as I told, the people can log in and find questions also, ask questions. And then you can also answer that one if you want. And second thing is, I thank our President, Dr. Sailesh Naik, for arranging today's meeting in spite of his busy schedule. In fact, and he has excellently introduced Dr. Saibal Ghosh. I thank him for that one. I thank all the participants of today's function, particularly members of Krishnanunni Saab's family, whether it is Lata Madam or Lakshmi Madam or Naveen. I find a couple of others also. So Madhavi Madam. And in fact, their presence in our lectures gives us a lot of encouragement to pursue this type of activities. I thank you all for participating in today's lecture, and thank you, Saibal, again for your excellence.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, Geeta. You're muted. Bala, you still want to ask a question?
No. Okay.
The speaker has already left.
Speaker has left, number one. Number two is you can use the website to ask the question.
Okay. No, I still, you see, we can, now it is off the record, whatever we are talking, but generally, you see, I was another committee that we had that was for helium. I mean, this Department of Atomic Energy had asked GSI to do something for helium exploration. Now, we went to DGH, Director General Hydrocarbon, because when the gas comes out, there's a lot of helium in that. The major task was that whichever agency is taking out hydrocarbons, there had to be legislative provision for them to extract helium in that. In this particular case, what we are dealing with is not with the Home Secretary or with this Ministry of Urban Development, etc. You are dealing with contractors and all. Anything that you put as a remedial measure to stop this landslide or earthquake, etc., they will take it as an additional cost only. That is the whole problem. And unless they are forced to do it, they will not do it. And all our maps and memoirs, etc., they remain beautiful maps and memoirs as such. In that attitude, I don't see much of a difference. That is the whole problem.
In fact, I am happy that being in GSI, Saibal Ghosh and his team could do so much work on landslides.
Oh, yes.
Really, because GSI has its own usual red tapeism and all these things, but then encouraging them to do work in the way in which they are doing is really great.
But this Kerala landslide numbers are still, I mean, I'm not able to really digest that.
Yeah, that is really devastating type of figure.
Yeah, as if the entire Kerala is under landslides.
Yeah, there have been several landslides, but whether it will be in such magnitude, 2,000 and odd over a short period.
No, they might have taken the small slides also, day-to-day slide.
I think that is typical of Kerala. Once they have started doing it, they have taken the smallest of the things also into consideration and put it in the right frame. I think that is why the numbers have gone up.
In the midst of all these landslides, Kerala government is now talking about constructing a silver line, a railroad from Kasaragod to Trivandrum. What will be the impact of that on the landslides or the other way? Landslide impact on the railway line.
Yeah.
It will be too devastating. Is it not, Deshikan Saab?
There is no other way than constructing the railway.
Railway is already there.
No, one more railway. There are many ways. No, one of the ways.
What is the need for such fast trains?
Yeah, exactly. There is no need. No, there is. If Kerala government has the money, they can do it. They are going to borrow the entire money from some other country.
Naturally.
And construct it.
Yeah.
And
that is the beg, borrow, and steal. Beg, borrow, and steal, and do the job, complete the job.
After some 20, 25 years, nobody.
Right then. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Thank you. Thank you
Good
very
night.
much.
All the best.